These days, it's super easy to start your own small business. You don't even need a fancy office. You work from home or a nearby coffee shop. Now, this is great because it means anyone with a cool idea can give it a shot. But here's the thing, most of these small businesses don't last for long. In his book, 0 to 1, Peter Thiel says that being successful as a startup isn't just about luck, it's more about challenging the usual way of doing things. He thinks that a startup should avoid competition at any cost. Instead, they should focus on a specific small thing and do it in such a great way that they become a monopoly there. If a startup becomes the absolute best at something and it stands out from the crowd, success will start to happen all by itself. In the summary, I'll share with you 3 key lessons that I learned from the book. Key lesson number 1. A startup should avoid competition and start in a small market where they can become a monopoly. You know how sometimes there is that one restaurant in town that makes the best pizza and everyone loves it? Well, that restaurant kinda has a monopoly on making awesome pizza. That means they're really good at it and people prefer their pizza over any other place. Now, some folks might think monopolies are bad because they imagine big, mean companies pushing everyone else out of pizza business. But that's not always true. See, when a company becomes the best at something and doesn't have much competition, it can actually be a good thing. Google, for example, is like the pizza place for the internet. They are really good at helping us find the stuff online and they don't have much competition. That means they keep making their search engine better for us. Monopolies can also be good for society because they make other companies work hard to come up with even better things. Imagine if someone wanted to make a new search engine to compete with Google. They'll have to make it super amazing to win customers over. And when they do that, we all get better search engines to use. So having a monopoly isn't always a bad thing. It can mean you're really good at what you do, and it can make things better for everyone in the end. The startups, instead of focusing on a big market and competing with other companies, should focus on a specific thing and do it better than everybody else so that they can become a monopoly in that specific thing. Key lesson number 2. A startup should be built upon the right culture using the right people. When you're starting a new business, you've got to build it on a strong foundation. Just like a house needs a solid base. Those early days are super important. First, you need the right people on your team. In startups, everyone's job is crucial because it's a small group. So before you invest in a company, you should check if the people running it have the skills and the same vision. Plus, it's important that they get along personally. Peter shares one of his bad experiences when he invested in a company where the founders didn't have a strong personal connection. And it didn't end well. Another thing is making sure that the owners of the company all agree on what's best. Sometimes the founders want to take their time to make great products, but the people who invest money want to make a profit fast. These different interests can lead to problems, so it's important to figure out how to deal with these disagreements early on. Most important of all, a startup should have a good company culture. This isn't about just having cool stuff like a pool table or a soda machine in the office. It's about how people work together and get along. For example, at PayPal, which is a company Peter founded, the team was so close-knit that many of them went on to start other companies together because they had a strong bond. That's the kind of culture you want to create. Key lesson number 3. There are 7 critical questions every startup must answer before starting the business. The mid-2000s was a time of big excitement in Silicon Valley about clean technology, which is all about eco-friendly stuff like renewable energy and using resources wisely. Lots of companies popped up in this field, and investors poured over $50 billion into them. But guess what? Many of these companies didn't make it, and they took the investors' money done with them. Why did they fail? Well, it turns out they didn't ask themselves some really important questions before starting their business. Here are those questions in simpler terms. The engineering question. Can you make something really cool? These clean tech companies didn't realize that to beat the bigger energy companies, they needed to create something way better, not just a little better. The timing question. Is it the right time? Some of these companies thought they were starting at the perfect moment when technology was going to explode, like with super efficient solar panels, but it didn't happen as quickly as they thought. The monopoly question. Can you be the big fish in a small pond? Clean tech companies were in a huge industry and they had to fight hard for even a tiny piece of the market. It's better to start in a smaller market where you can become a leader. The people question. Do you have the right team? Some of these companies were run by people who didn't really know how to make great products. The distribution question. How will you get your product to customers? Some thought their tech was so amazing that they didn't need to worry about how to sell it, but they were wrong and ended up in trouble. The durability question. Can you stay strong for a long time? Some solar tech companies were surprised when cheaper products from China came along. They should have seen that coming. The secret question. Do you see something others don't? Successful companies like Tesla find unique opportunities that others miss. Most clean tech companies didn't have any unique secrets. So companies like Tesla succeeded because they had answers to these questions, while many clean tech companies didn't. That's why they didn't make it. So in summary, when a startup succeeds, it's not because they had good luck. It's because they focused on a smaller market and became a monopoly there, instead of entering the big market and competing with others. They gathered the right people and built the company upon a good culture as their solid foundation. They also have very good answers to the 7 critical questions even before starting their business. If you want the PDF summary of the book, click the link below and I'll be happy to send it to you. Thanks for being here with me. This is Bahman and I enjoy sharing with you.